You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. And Michael Amening in the UK says that Ghanaians are so proud of her leadership, Justice Georgina Theodora Wood, for her outstanding competences in the administration of justice, especially the ruling of the recent high-profile political case of Munchi 3, and her name should be included in the Guinness Book of Records. Okay, Justice Wood had recused herself in that matter. The choice of Justice Sophia Kufu to succeed Justice Theodora Wood shows he is determined to appoint 30% of women into positions of authority. The appointment of Justice Sophia Kufu is not surprising because she was the obvious choice among her contenders because of her competence, integrity, credibility, dedication, and those commentaries going on around her appointment, raising conflict of interest, is of no basis. And when Michael talks about integrity and so on, that's what I was referring my friend George Lowe earlier to, that you don't have to be only 15 years at the bar. But the first ground is high moral integrity.
Yeah,
high moral integrity.
If you are not 15 years, you can't even be considered on
correct, correct. Musa Abator in Kumasi says that the appointment of Justice Sophia Kufu as new CJ is in order, but I'm waiting to see Richard Delaskai and Mr. Echampong to seek an interpretation of Article 70 of the 1992 Constitution on whether or not the President must act in accordance with the advice of the Council of State in appointing the CJ, or the GBA should file a writ at the Apex Court to declare whether upon the true and proper construction of Article 144, Clause 2 and 3 of the 1992 Constitution, the appointment made by the President is valid on condition that is made in strict accordance with the advice of the Judicial Council. No, Judicial Council doesn't come in appointing a Chief Justice. Yeah. Thank you very much. You said, nonetheless, Justice Atuga, who is the most senior judge, will be retiring soon. In Sophia Kufu will be retiring in 2 years. But Justice, okay, that's too long a message, right? I can't read all of that. Now, it's important to note that, and this is I'd like to read from Samuel Brian Boabing. He brings our attention to something that we may not have paid attention to about the competences that she brings and what we may expect of her. He says that Chief Justice Sophia Kufu is a strong advocate of technology in the judicial process. Introducing tech will bring about a major transformation. Cases will be well structured and put on data. There is going to be SMS or new media prompt to lawyers on development of their cases. This, amongst others, I believe will be a great start, one step at a time in the right direction. Samuel Boabing sent that from Awoshi. Nana Ansa Obofo in the UK says, listening to NDC communicators and as usual in their usual noise makers. Okay, can we move on to read some other messages rather? Okay, I wanted to get to this. Okay, Ibrahim Kopa in Tamale says that it is unfortunate that some people are struggling hard to establish non-existent organic relationship of Madam Sophia Kufu and the President. In America, the ideological orientation of Supreme Court judges are not hidden. Nonetheless, their judgments are not often based on solid grounds and not, you want to say they are often based on solid grounds and not on a mere ideological orientation. Okay. I think I'll end them there. You know how in Ghana we can bastardize the judges and their judgments. You need to read, for example, the election petition ruling judgment again, and ask yourself, those who are claiming that Justice Atugba had turned the rule that says shall is mandatory. He had turned it into mean shall is not always mandatory. You need to read it again and be sure that those who are doing that were not doing unnecessary and unhealthy politics. There was good grounds for that ruling. He never ruled that shall does not remain shall. Okay, now, so let's get to the matters of Buri Nabu, Otiko Jaba, who is a gender minister, Buri Nabu, who is the Daniel Buri Nabu, who is the Northern Regional Chairman of the NPP. They have been at each other's necks, and then it had to take some interventions to stop certain things from happening. Now, let's listen to Buri Nabu first. He said something that he didn't insult, as was claimed that he had insulted the gender minister.
I didn't insult her. I never said it. I only told her her actions were wrong. And which is true, I will maintain this. That is wrong. I have never accused her of being a lesbian, but it is in the internet everywhere. Everybody says she's a lesbian. I'm not the one who said it. I didn't say so. I haven't even heard it, but they are saying it. It's all over. They say she's a lesbian. There are some two girls in Tamale who are the women of garages, Tamale Central, Tamale South, where they are all saying it. Me, I also heard it, but me, I didn't say that.
Okay, so we proceed to listen to Madam Otiko Jaba giving an apology after, obviously, she had been invited to the presidency and pressure brought upon her or made to apologize publicly.
I apologize to my party members and the people of Ghana for what happened. I'm the mother. They say that in tree, so banigu sukra ohohoro. And so I want to use this opportunity to apologize to all Ghanaians about what happened. But it is a lesson for us to understand that we need to respect each other and we need to respect women. I myself went to see the president yesterday and I spoke to him about it. And I used the opportunity to explain to him about what had happened. And I apologized to him as well.
One single word for the man who you say has disrespected you, what would you tell him?
Love. Show some love, Mr. Buri.
Right. So Buri Nabu had made allegations. She had made some allegations that Buri Nabu had been accepting goats and cows and stuff, promising people that he will get them DCE positions. Buri Nabu had gone to disrupt a meeting that she was supposed to have, a meeting with women in the region, and Buri Nabu claims that he, being the chairman of the region, ought to have been informed before that meeting, and he was not informed. And on the basis of that, he disrupted that meeting, and she got angry and also said those words. Buri Nabu came with a reply, in which reply he suggested, didn't really suggest, was emphatic that Otiko and the Upper East Regional Minister had a hand. They were deeply involved in the murder of Adams Mahama, the NPP Upper East Regional Chairman. Well, they were all brought to the Flagstaff House, and later a meeting was also held by the NPP, and they were all made to apologize. But it started with an apology to the minister in the Upper East region from Buri Nabu, where he said it was a slip. He didn't intend to say the things he said, and he didn't mean them. Well, so when the meeting concluded, let's hear John Boedu, and then we'll come to the studio. John Boedu is the acting general secretary of the NPP.
For you, as an adult, joining a party or a society, for you to be reprimanded in the open, for you to be told in the face that your action and your utterances is disapproved by organization that you join, for you to be asked to go further and write a statement apologizing to your organization, apologizing to the Ghanaian people, and be bonded to be of good behavior. I don't think that it's even akin to just being told to leave the party. I hope you understand the
point, but
of this.
But they have not been sacked from government. They have not been sacked from the party.
That you've been bonded to be of good behavior. You understand? It's all, you see, in taking decisions of such nature, depends on the attitude of the offender.
Okay.
You understand? If they had been at the meeting and arguing their way out and insisting that they are right and all that, the decision would have been different. So those unfortunate utterances that occurred bled all these important achievements of the president. You understand? So it has done a damage to the party, and we disapprove of it.
So that's John Boydo, the acting general secretary of the party, NPP. Now, I start with Yao. And Yao, the major issues that have come up now that particularly the NDC will not let go are that the allegations against Buri Nabu by Otiko of collecting cows, bribes in the form of cows and goats, promising DCE positions. It's a serious one and ought to be investigated. Number two, the claims that he knows people who were deeply involved in the murder of Adams Mahama is one that the state should take up, irrespective of the fact of his retraction and apology. What do you say?
Well, thank you very much. I think
and the NDC actually says Otiko should also be sacked.
The first time I heard this, I would say that I was scandalized that these are two adults, especially one being a minister of state who is performing part of the executive functions of the state, can go out there to make such statements about each other. On the other hand, I reminded myself of a position I always hold, that it's always important also to allow people to actually express themselves. That is the only way you will know the other things they are hiding from the general public. So now, I think nobody will be surprised if they say any other thing, because then we know that these are it's out of the abundance of the heart, the person will speak out. And so it is also important that occasionally people speak like this, so that the things they are concealing, that other part of their character that they are concealing, they themselves will express it. And from then on, you will know them by their fruit. Again, I think, especially in the case of Mr. Buri Nabu, I think there was something on social media that he had indicated that he was going to hold press conference. We all know from recent experience that he can really say things. Mind you, the Ga meaning of his name has even become part of the joke. So you should have then preempted. That is the mark of leaders as well. That when somebody has served notice, or when the matter started and they were not stopping, that was the time, I think, that especially the party people, or maybe first of all family members, should have reminded them that they hold special positions in society, and whatever they say about each other or other persons will be believed largely. And therefore, and also the consequences of what they say. If two persons were not known were to treat such unwholesome language at each other, perhaps people may understand. But on the issue of the possible criminality, I think that there are sufficient grounds for even a judge to call a person to assist the court in the course of adjudication, where the person has clearly, or in the minds of the court, the person may be able to assist the court to do justice. But the question is, what does it mean to say deeply involved? As to what? Being part of those, or let's say, part of the conspiracy to commit the crime, or abettors, facilitated, assisted. What is the nature of it? So perhaps it will be at a trial. Some may also just say that it's a mere puff. He didn't really mean it. It was in the heat. So what they call heat of vituperation and things like that. All these things come up. Personal issues about defamation, which I heard you eloquently on, all these can come together. But I think that the bottom line is that they were better off not saying it. And again, if we don't take care, we will continue to color almost everything that is said by a politician to be political. And I think beyond this, and of course, I mean, the political parties have been doing their best. When matters like this come, they call, some may not be published, but I think they all call their people and reprimand them on their side, except that one person has other approach of publicizing what had actually happened. All right. So if the politicians will continue to take these matters as political, even though if I had said it, it would have been apolitical and probably a different consequence would have occurred, then they should also in public reprimand these people so that we know that they are not shielding them. I heard Mr. Boadu yesterday elsewhere say that, well, of course, if the police were to invite any of them, their party is not going to stand in the way of the police. And that when you, as an adult, you utter statements like this, knowing or that you ought to have known the possible consequences, you say it and face the consequences. It should not take the Attorney General, for example, to call them, these persons, for investigation and probably charge them for a particular offense. But as I'm saying that, looking at what they have said, one needs to really examine the enormity of it, especially...
Then DC's concentration is on the man who made the claims, that he knows that they should look for. That man ought to have been picked up. In fact, they put the blame, they blame the president for not acting quickly, even as they blame the police as well.
But to the contrary, I mean, under Article 41, we all have a duty to expose crime. And if somebody says that he is aware that another person has committed an offense, then otherwise, what would be the use of the Whistleblowers Act, for example? So why is it that the person who is rather disclosing an alleged or disclosing an information that may relate to an allegation of an offense, and that may not also be, why should he be the one to be the victim? How are we going to encourage people to then rely on the facilities provided under the
What role should
Act,
his retractions play in this? He retracted twice. Retracted, he said he retracted wholly, okay, wholly, and then that's against the minister, the regional minister.
That's right.
And then later at the level of the party, he retracted again and apologized.
Yes, but interestingly, what I heard the two of them stated in terms of apology, I didn't really hear any of them apologize to the other. It was a general apology to the president, party people, the rest of us. Maybe the rest of us will also include. But since you made such a serious allegation against an individual, the apology must even go to the person first of all. They did well, and maybe because you lawyers wrote for your client, who wants to even be a witness in an ordinary case, much more a defamation case. So that is, but between the two of them, and the answer the lady just gave, really shows that they are not remorseful, at least. And if you are not remorseful, and you are not going to forgive that person, then it means that you still stand by it. When she went to Parliament, and she refused to apologize for certain things she said, I stood by her, not because what she said was right, but because I think that too often people conceive that, let me go and say this wrong thing, it's wrong, I will say it. When I'm asked, I will feel compelled to apologize. I hate such hypocrisy. So when, on the second occasion, you've made this statement, then you stand by it. And about the gentleman, before long, a whole vehicle, you were told by you, were offered you, so that you don't or do certain things. Then you were worried.
We're talking about the bribery allegation he leveled against President Mahama and his brother.
Well, rather put it that I'm talking about the allegation by him that he was offered a vehicle to do or not to do something.
Right.
Now,
and plus money.
Yes, it is always difficult to accept allegations about your conduct when you know you haven't engaged in it. And so, conversely, you should not also, and I'm saying this because of the apology, especially to your client, you should not also make such allegations about others, because it is also painful. There's a saying in Chi that such allegations are like when you have taken off the feathers of, let's say, chicken. Even if you can identify all the places where, or all of them, you cannot identify where exactly this particular feather came from. And you know, people's ears tickle when they hear bad news. These retractions. But for you saying it and all, a lot of people may not even be interested. All they know is that certain so and so who has now become a minister of state, regional minister, is alleged to have done this.
Right.
So I think that when they did it, it is now being done to, especially the gentleman, and I would say the lady as well. Always there is a higher standard set for our ladies than we men when it comes to even what we say.
Kweku, they've gone through the processes, they have been sanctioned, bonded indefinitely. Never heard of such a bond. Indefinitely. That means that you should be watchful. The slightest misbehavior could get you out of, could get you in trouble. The party says enough has been done. The NDC says you've really not done anything. You've treated them with kid gloves.
Well, the NDC's reaction, predictable. I have no... Yeah, it's predictable. That's what they should say, and they would say. And indeed, I think they are asking for a certain bipartisan investigations.
That is so.
Yes. The two personalities, in this case, Madame Otiko and Buri Nabu, have provided the ammunition the NDC need to play the politics. So I have no difficulty at all with what the NDC is doing relative to this issue. To be honest with you, I am dismayed with the two personalities, even more so with Bugri, because of the nature of his allegation in terms of the scale. Murder is second to treason, high treason, in terms of offenses. You are the lawyers. Yes. So it's a very serious allegation to make. Before he rendered apology, which he said was based on is a slip of tongue. I had a friend who said it might be slip of brain, but I thought that was too insulting, so it ought not to be said. So it's redrawn. I was only reporting what a friend told me. Yeah, it's redrawn. Yes. I'm only reporting what a friend said. You know, but to be honest, and I had insisted that there was a need for the police to call, invite him, for him to provide further and better particulars to help everybody. My attitude towards such things is that when you leave them, because of the way we play politics in this country, when you leave those allegations standing on their own, well, people will run with it consistently, saturate the political environment with it, even though my candid opinion, Bugri was peddling an obvious untruth. Was a lie, patent lie that he was putting out there. But he thought he was just doing the usual political thing. You know, they have their own differences, let me throw it out there and get away with it. Unfortunately, he's bitten more than he can chew. Right. So Mr. Roxin Bukhari challenges him. He knew there was the option of civil, you know, action. So he's beating a retreat there. The criminal one, whilst I supported the idea of police inviting him, I can tell you that I still stand by that, but clear in my mind that when it gets to the police, you go and talk about slip of tongue. And what else can the police do? It will be an exercise in futility. The police cannot proceed any further based on what he comes to tell them, if the contents of the apology is what will be delivered to the police. And let me be honest with you. You see, Bugri had all the opportunities much earlier, if indeed he was telling the truth, to have told his party leadership had this information, to have told the police this information. When the incident happened, the party's Council of Elders appealed to all members to stop pointing accusing fingers at each other and to cooperate with the investigators if they had any evidence. This is a statement they issued. I have a copy here. Bugri was regional chairman. He didn't act on that. The IGP then asked for information. The Minister of Interior assured the nation, for the President of Ghana, then President Mahama, also came public and indicated that justice will be served and appealed to everybody with information to come forward. Indeed, I found something very interesting. Mr. Roxin Bukari apparently was the spokesperson for the Adams Mahama family. And at the funeral, he spoke. It's here. And actually insisted, appealed to Akufo-Addo, then the flag bearer, that the party, he accused unnamed members of the party of being the perpetrators. He didn't mention names. Bugri went further to mention names, Afoko in Japan. Openly. This Adams man said all the things he said. Bugri was present. If he knew that Adams was part of the conspirators, why didn't he expose him? But you see, there's one intriguing thing. I've realized there's a campaign, Free Gregory Afoko, as a complement to all this thing going on. And it worries me. And they say he's innocent. I agree. In law, he's innocent until proven guilty. But I thought investigations established a certain prima facie case against him. That's why he's on trial.
That's so.
So whilst he's not guilty yet, quote unquote, he's actually a credible accused person before a court of competent jurisdiction. Enough evidence was established based on criminal investigations to put him there. One is on the run. The third one was discharged and acquitted. I've studied the docket. Yeah, it's a very bulky thing. I've studied it. What is surprising me, you see, these investigations were conducted under the Mahama administrations. The police sent a duplicate docket to the Attorney General for advice. The Attorney General, based on all the investigations, the findings and things, recommended prosecution. So it worries me that suddenly people from that stable are saying that because Bugri has spoken, the gentleman who is on trial based on the advice of the Attorney General and based on evidence, facts, findings of facts, is suddenly innocent and must even be released from prison. They've issued statements to that effect. If there are new dimensions, those dimensions could input into the ongoing trial. Fortunately, even if the trial had ended, you are the lawyers. Even if the trial had ended, new evidence, new dimensions could be brought in. But I'm saying that the Bugri thing, no serious policeman, if he goes to tell them what is in his apology letter, will take him serious. It can't trigger any investigations. There's concrete evidence that linked Gregory Afoko to the crime. The court will decide whether that is enough to convict and sentence him. But concrete evidence, exhibits that were picked from his home, his tracksuit, trouser, everything is here, sent for test at the Ghana Standards Board, all confirmed it that there was sulfuric acid. So I think it's so unfair now to use the Bugri thing to prematurely exonerate somebody who is legitimately in court for a trial or murder.
You are saying that they don't have any basis, for example, to call for Otiko to be removed?
Oh, I was dealing with Bugri.
Yes.
I thought Otiko is different. Otiko, to be removed as what? Party National Women's Organizer?
As a minister, they say they are vindicated when they decided that they will not approve her.
The minority.
Yes.
Oh, you are talking of the minority.
The minority, yes.
Well, I myself indicated that I wouldn't be surprised if there is any reshuffle, Otiko's head may be asked. I said so myself because I thought what she did was too embarrassing. She's apologized and all the rest within the president's discretion and prerogative to decide what to do. But I think she realizes now she didn't handle herself well. in terms of resignation coming from the minority, you see, you're right, they are entitled to that. But sometimes it is the amnesia, the selective amnesia that worries me. And when I proceed, I'll be accused of equalization. So perhaps I shouldn't be tempted to do that. But do you remember some time ago, a whole minister of state claimed that he was a target of assassination? I don't know whether you remember that. And the police investigated that. I have the police report here. And it turned out that he was the one doing the shooting himself from his car.
Amazing.
Interesting.
And nobody asked him to resign.
What
I'm saying is that when it comes to Bugri's thing, look, it's rubbish.
But do you think the party has dealt with them in the way they should?
I would have preferred more severe sanctions. If you go into their constitution, anybody who brings the party's image into disrepute, you must be sent through certain disciplinary proceedings. I think this one is a bit soft, even though you say it's unlimited. Indefinite. You see, when Edumasi misbehaved, even though that too was not that severe, it was something. When he misbehaved, I remember President Kufuor instructing Elizabeth Ohene to issue a public statement that reprimanded Edumasi and was published on the front page of the graphic. In this case, is these people who have come to tell us that they are apologizing. It's softer if you compare to what Edumasi went through. I think suspension maybe would have been more useful.
Suspension from the party?
Yes.
Then what happened to the minister?
I'm coming there because you see, we shouldn't forget Otiko has a dual role. So the party level, but now the party has taken a decision that she should exit, not because of this matter, but generally reorganizing the party.
All party officers who are now in government, who are holding government position, are supposed to give up.
So that is not a sanction relative to her in terms of the conduct. You get the drift. Bugri is regional chairman. He can be sanctioned. He can be suspended. In their own constitution, is there. I think that's a better option than him apologizing, considering the weight of the allegations. However, scandalous and untrue they were. Otiko, from the way things are going, it's obvious the president is giving her another chance. But that chance could still materialize in a major reshuffle.
Interesting.
I'm not predicting anything.
Okay. Yes, George, it's your party that's now on the onslaught and making the demands and saying that what the NPP has done to them is not enough. The retractions and the apologies, everything should be discarded or is not sufficient, and that's the judicial process should look for Buri Nabu and then see what evidence they can gather from the people he named, and then again that the allegations by Otiko of Buri Nabu receiving goats and cows is also serious enough, and that he should also be sanctioned. He should also be investigated. What's the end you're looking for?
Well, something very basic. I mean, I don't think that the party is on onslaught as maybe those are your words, but what we are just looking at is a bigger picture. Something you see, when things happen, it doesn't limit itself even just to our jurisdiction or our geographical location. Let me start with moving on. What he said, many people interpreted it differently. Kweku is saying it's bad, but it's total nonsense, nobody should pursue. But you see, the question I asked, and my senior counsel Opon said, for instance, that because of temporary, what we call maybe temporary insanity. But basically, when you are angry or you met with a situation that it's a defense. It's a defense in law.
But he himself said he was under extreme anger.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But really, if you look at the trend of the issues, you cannot see that. You cannot plead that. You see, if Bugri has said it, and then the following day he had called even the regional minister and said, "Oh, regional minister, I'm sorry. These things worried me. It would have been fine."
He said he did that.
No, wait. He actually, listen, after he had said that, he actually granted radio interviews and repeated the facts. even before your letter went. Go and take the recording from Radio XYZ.
That was it. That was the first and the only.
No, I'm saying that.
Yes.
The matter happened the previous day.
There's no evidence he repeated the claims.
But I'm saying that he went on radio the following day when time.
Wait,
please. When time has lapsed. You see, when time has lapsed, and repeated those same facts again.
On which station?
I'm saying that XYZ.
XYZ was the first place.
I am saying that.
That's the original.
I am saying
original comment.
Listen.
That's the original comment.
No, when he said that they
were deeply involved.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the altercation between he and Otiko happened the previous day, before he went on XYZ.
The disruption of the meeting
and all that, and all the things that they.
Okay.
So I'm saying that there was time for him to have thought about the way to react to Otiko, and so to go on radio and now say that why didn't he limit the killing to Otiko? Why didn't he say that, oh, you Otiko, I know that you had a hand in it. But he went and mentioned somebody else's name. Why that person? Why not?
Apparently, he didn't like that appointment as well, including the one at
David
Afoko. Afoko's brother.
Yes, but I'm saying that, you see, so these are things that investigation can
He was lying.
to say whether he was lying or not. You see? And so for me, or for the party, our position is that, look, don't let us just leave it that it was a slip of tongue or brain. Let's say that, look, interrogations may bring out things that we don't know. So at least let's know that police professionally went and investigated, interrogated the man, and the man insisted that it was simply a slip of tongue. Then everybody is clear in their mind that some real matter has been taken. 2, the matter of the goat and sheep and things like that. Fine. Buri says, oh, as for me, what is wrong with my collecting goat and sheep? He didn't deny it. Don't forget, he's never denied it.
But Otiko has withdrawn that, claiming she has no
evidence. He hasn't denied it. He said there's nothing wrong with it. Now, if indeed he had, and don't forget that in addition to Otiko, the original women organizer has said that if you go to his house, it's like a goat and sheep and cows are dancing there and they're all over the place. Now the question is, do we have, even if it's a gift, do we have a gift tax law in this country?
That's why you tax the goat.
Of course you value. It's about value. No, it's about value. It's about value. And so we are saying that, so why? If the goats are valued at 100 million, if there are 1,000 goats.
Within our cultural setting,
please,
as MP,
it's not about
nobody ever gave you goats in your constituency.
Please, I am saying that there is a value that has been put to the goats. Have the tax people moved in to see what really is there, and if any. No, these investigations are important if we must make progress.
Listen to the very last paragraph of his apology to the minister, to the Upper East Regional Minister. He says, I do not have any facts beyond the known police investigations on the matter, and I am truly sorry to the minister, his family, and all those I have hurt by those comments.
He will tell the police this. That's why he will tell the police.
The point I am making is this. That is Buri Nabu under pressure from lawyers.
Yeah, but he will tell the police, say the same thing.
He repeats in the party meeting.
I am saying that
he did it out of anger and that he doesn't have any facts.
That is Buri Nabu. But I'm saying that the reason why people are interrogated by professional police officers is because they have a way of getting information.
So they should go. They should
I am
go
saying that the police should go. They should. The police should go.
Wait. I don't think there's a problem. Let the police do it.
Yes, I mean that is the police.
That will be a cul-de-sac.
Please, I'm saying that let the system have its way. Then we are all satisfied that nobody sat unconcerned.
I can tell you people attack the police findings. They say they don't believe it.
Let's take Madam Otiko. You know, and of course, even with Buri, let me ask the question. So, the other things that he has said of people who have attempted to bribe him and all that, were they also slips of tongues? Maybe we need to go back and find out.
He's not a reliable and dependable witness.
That is it.
And we said so here.
So I'm saying
that. When DC said we shouldn't believe him,
but
when he made those comments earlier.
Yes.
But now you say we should believe him.
I'm saying that we should just interrogate him.
He put the money in his personal account after chopping 100,000.
You see, at that time, that is why you see, I noticed there. The problem we have in this country is that our security agencies are not living up to their professional reputation.
And you realize
no, I haven't said that, and I've said that all the time. That anything that happens, it shouldn't be a politician.
That is too sweeping.
No, it shouldn't be a politician who, or this thing should have been done. Even like, the police should move in swiftly and do a job because they are police people, like as is done elsewhere.
So as far as you are concerned, the first time the police also failed.
Yes.
Because he was talking about bribery.
Yes, and you could have picked him up and interrogated him, and everybody be satisfied.
Yes, briefly, and then let's have
proud to the apology. I was of the firm conviction that the police invite and interrogation will be helpful.
Okay.
Just like if you recall the Rawlings allegation about Syria murders, the 14 ministers.
Right.
We all insist the police go. When the police went, what came out told everybody that the former president had nothing to stand on. Those things are critical. When the vehicle and money we made the same point that the police should invite Buri for investigations. Of course, some of us were clear that Buri didn't have much credibility. If you go and put the money in your personal account and bring only the car, and even the money in your personal account, you chopped 100,000 of it. You have no credibility. Nobody believed that thing. Now, because of this letter that he's put out, I'm telling you, even if the police invite him, we'll end up on a journey to nowhere. That's what I'm saying. But I'm not against you.
You are entitled to that point. What we are also saying that, you see, in the public's mind,
it'll be an exercise in
let
futility.
the police be seen to be working. You never know.
Okay.
This is criminal
Let them call him.
matter. You will never know what to come on. Now let me just transit to Otiko. You see, I think that is high time President Akufo-Addo tells all his appointees that 7th December 2016 is past. Today, at the level of the executive, it is the government of the Republic of the People of Ghana and no longer a party matter. And that whenever they go out there to do anything, they are no longer acting in their personal capacities. You see, when Madam Otiko went and said, oh, somebody got a job as EC commissioner because she had an
somebody said that she was
backing the person.
Precision.
We all said, oh, she's a politician. So when she came to a vetting and insisted on the things she said about President Mahama, we said she was assertive. Today, you see where she has brought us. This is our Minister for Gender and Social Protection. And if you know internationally how they rate the epitome of womanhood in Ghana, and that we are calling for affirmative action. If this is the way our women will come and behave because we brought them along by way of affirmative action, I don't want to be part of it. Because whilst other women have come and they are upholding the opportunities, and therefore we are still saying that we'll give them more. If some of them are behaving like that, I think it is in bad taste. Look, she is a role model for all young people in this country, particularly young girls. And I believe that the consistency of her misbehavior should be cause for worry for all of us. And I'm saying this not from the
would you have said the same if she was a male?
Of course. Of course, I'm saying that the way you carry yourself.
So we have guys in the political in politics who do worse.
See, I am saying.
Is that how we treat them?
Give me an example, then I'll tell you.
I'm giving examples of people here, and I get into trouble all the time.
You see what has Mutala done?
Within your own parliament. Within your own parliament, you have members of the parliament who do worse.
Listen.
What do you do to them? You don't say these things to them.
Listen, Samson.
She feels it's an attack on her because she's a woman.
Samson, go back, if you can, and listen to me all the time. I've been very consistent about these things. The generality of it does not matter to me, but I believe that you must be held to a certain standard when you stand out there representing Ghana, including me and you. If you stand out there being catered for by my tax money and your tax money, you have an additional responsibility to live far above everybody else. And I'm saying that for Madam Otiko to be getting involved in these things, it is not even. I'm happy the party itself noticed that it is tarnishing their image, and I don't think that anybody should allow that. And like Kweku said, she's lucky. I don't know what is in the mind of the president. Maybe they are just doing it in such a way that they don't want it to be seen as if because of this thing we have removed a release of her position. But I think that so far she hasn't conducted herself well, and I'm not proud of her as my Minister for Gender and Social. It's in bad taste, and we should not allow these things to happen. people must realize that they are role models for all
Okay,
of us.
now
I need
to take a break, but before we do that, let's hear Andrew. What do you have to say? People say the steps the party has taken are not enough, are not far-reaching enough. Otiko, for example, should not still continue to be a minister because she's not worthy. Buri Nabu should have, like Kokubako said, should have been suspended at least.
Well, people are entitled to their views, and I think that the National Council took the right steps in reprimanding these individuals for the despicable acts that they clearly demonstrated that brought the image of the party into disrepute.
You remember what Rekuprobe did that got him suspended from your party? Nyahota Maklu, remember the things that got them suspended?
Little.
Yes.
Any close to such conduct?
No, I don't want to be measuring the extent of people's actions in
it's called fairness.
Yeah,
consistency.
I mean, you know, you're right. I mean, I'm not going to hold brief for anybody. I mean, I was extremely disappointed by the actions of these two individuals, particularly Otiko Jaba, whom I know quite personally, and I think that it was unfortunate the way the issues were handled. Clearly, I mean, but I think that these are people who are not known, particularly Otiko, to be cast in that mode. And so, and then again, the National Council having listened to them, I was not privy to the meeting. But it is important that we give them the benefit of the doubt that the National Council, which is the second highest decision-making body of the party, having listened to the two parties, evaluated the circumstances under which these statements were made, deemed it proper that these public reprimand
the fact that their conduct got the president, the former president, got people of this class coming together in a meeting over their conduct tells you they actually took their matter very seriously.
But of course, these are senior members of the party, so you respect that the women's organizer, national women's organizer, and the Northern Regional Minister had an issue. It had to take a huge body like the National Council to seek to investigate the matter and try to bring some resolution to it.
So people are fair in saying that the sanctions don't match, you know, the offense.
We can have our views in terms of as to whether they
no,
match.
That's obvious.
Well, like Kweku has said, that's his view. I think that is sufficient. Public apology, having regard to the circumstances that the matter was investigated, should suffice. You know, I get surprised about the way my brothers on the other side are seeking to stretch the matter and calling for Otiko's head, as if to see, and like Kweku said, anytime that you go on that trajectory, they will quickly label it as political equalization. That she is the first minister of state who has misconducted herself in this manner. We have instances. Murtala Mohammed, 2015, made huge allegations against colleague ministers within his government. What did he do? He came out and apologized. Then it was okay, but this time it is not. You know, so it is the hypocrisy with which that these issues are addressed that is worrying. You know,
the minority thing that this time they're saying minority statement this time. I'm speaking in because of the comparison you make to Murtala. They're saying that here there's allegation of murder involvement of murder involved.
Murder allegations. It is not Otiko.
But she has been accused.
It is not Otiko who made allegations. Buri Nabu was the one who made. Absolutely, yes. He who alleges.
Yes, but they would want to talk.
But you see, like I was saying, I found their statement quite revealing. In their concluding part, they indicated their reasons for not supporting her appointment, and it tells you that it is precisely arising out of a refusal to apologize for the words that she used against President Mahama that they picked their on in this matter and asking for her head. If it was any other person involved, I'm not sure their response would have been the same. So it tells you, I sometimes wonder what it is about, and we know in our political discourse that people, unfortunately, insults have become part of our political engagements in this country. Very unfortunately. But when it is on the other foot, then it's okay. When there's a goalpost 10, then it is not.
No, I think that
we know of people in the NDC who have openly insulted candidate Akufo-Addo, and that was fine. But if people made utterances against President Mahama, then their heads ought to be chopped off the chopping board. I don't think that you are dealing with the issues. We are saying that criminality has been alleged.
Okay, thank you. You have been heard. You have been heard. Thank you.
Oh, right.
You have been heard. Thank you. Thank you. So let's take a break here. We'll be right back. And when we are back, we have the Takoradi gas explosion and Galamsey matters coming up to continue with. We'll be right back.